Hey, this is Khan, you're watching Ninja Pulls. A new scribed ability called Banner Bearer is coming in update 44. We got a pretty good look at it during the reveal stream, and it might just be that crazy strong scribed ability that everyone has been waiting for ever since scribing was announced 8 months ago. The big news from the reveal was the new 2-team Battleground mode. It looks like a solid refresh, and a lot of players are going to be heading back into BGs when this goes live. However, for many players the real big news is probably this. It's kind of in danger of sneaking in under the radar, but from what we saw, this is going to be a must-have for organized groups immediately upon its arrival. The official description: the scribes of the Mages Guild under the leadership of Votary Nalia have been studying Ulfsild's work in the Scholarium at Ivea. Banner Bearer is their newest creation, the first new grimoire of the Second Era. Banner Bearer is from the support skill line and allows you to throw a banner on your back, leading the charge with an AoE buff to your group's abilities that match your chosen focus. Visually, it turns you into a literal banner bearer, like an elite ad in a trial. It has no cost, but an ongoing penalty for having it active, and an AoE around it which buffs all your teammates. It'll be added to the Alliance War support skill line and is clearly a support skill. In fact, it looks a lot like the Spolder of Ruin, which debuffs you but buffs your group. The penalty for the bearer is much more severe, a massive reduction to health, magicka and stamina recovery, which can be 33%, 40%, depending on which scripts you have equipped. That is a lot, but it is something you can build around in organized groups, whether you're in PvE or PvP. The AoE is 8 meters in radius, smaller than Spolder's 12 meters. It looks like Banner Bearer can affect up to 12 group members, unlike Spolder, which is capped at 6, but we'll verify that when it comes to PTS. The group buffs themselves are primarily determined by focus scripts, and so far include boosting dots, boosting magical damage, boosting martial damage, boosting direct damage, boosting AoE damage, granting permanent CC immunity, which is insane, damage mitigation, and reducing ult costs. Quick reminder that this isn't even on PTS yet. Exactly how these will work is unconfirmed and all subject to change. Some of the effects might only apply to you. The CC immunity, for example, seems like it would be completely broken if that applied to your entire group. The available signature scripts also include class mastery, which suggests that we might be able to inherit class mastery from classes other than the one we're playing. But again, this may be something that just applies to the Banner Bearer themselves. We'll have to wait and see. The Templar and Dragon Knight mastery scripts would be very cool if you could apply them to a group of damage dealers. There's also Cavalier's Charge, which grants weapon and spell damage for every movement speed bonus that's currently active, plus some of the usual suspects like Crusader's Defiance against snares, Druid's Resurgence for sustain, Sage's Remedy for healing, and so on. Plus some familiar affix scripts like Minor Berserk, Brutality, Sorcery, Courage, and Minor Heroism, which is becoming easier and easier to get in organized groups, and is very strong when properly leveraged, as most players know very well. We'll look much more closely at some of the specific combos once this hits PTS, but you don't need to be a mathematician to see that some of these multipliers and effects are going to be amazing, if you have a support that can handle the penalty over the course of the fight, and if the group can stay stacked within 8 meters of them. If you're looking at this and thinking the multipliers don't look that big, that's true, but that's generally how power creep works in this game. There's no one magic item that makes the group OP. It's clever use of lots of little things that add up to more and more damage, especially when the group stacks them up and builds around them. like picking the most powerful damage multiplier for the comp they want and getting everyone to lean into that damage type. Perhaps the most obvious move is to put this on a Rojo healer, who's often wearing Spalder anyway and who has to stack with the group, and who's heavy attacking often enough to mitigate the big hit to sustain. But I can even see multiple players being asked to have this ready with a couple of different versions for different encounters. Now, this might lead to a widening of the gap between casual groups and top tier groups, but I don't think it's going to be transformatively powerful, just very good in the right hands. And frankly, the power gap is already a million miles wide between those who leverage every ounce of the combat system and those who just play for fun. And at least Banner Bearer has some defensive modes too, which may be helpful to groups that are struggling to learn new content. I can see it being very strong in PvP as well, again for organized groups, but at least that giant banner will make it very easy to spot the support with crappy sustain, and that could make for some interesting battlefield tactics. So if you regularly play support in organized trial groups with your guild or an organized PvP group, consider this a heads up that you might well be expected to collect this ability soon after it launches on October 28th or November 13th for consoles. I definitely wouldn't say it's going to be a must-have for every group, absolutely not, but we'll learn a lot more about its capabilities and limitations when it goes on PTS next week. Of course, they may nerf it into the ground before it goes live, but that would surprise me. One of the big complaints about Scribing from a lot of players is how little power creep it brought. Now, ZOS did that deliberately. They said they wanted to add lateral power and more options for players, not just upward power creep. But now the system's been live for a while and hasn't broken the game, it looks like they're ready to give it a bit more juice and give us some cool new toys to play with. We'll know more next week and we'll update you all as we go. Meantime, please remember to support the channel. Go watch my class breakdown videos if you haven't yet, they're super in-depth and will teach you a ton about how to be a more effective damage dealer on that class. Become a YouTube member for exclusive content, support us on Twitch, some awesome streams happening this month, or just like, sub, and share the video. We're super grateful for all your support, guys. Have a lovely week, and I'll see you on PTS.